So today we are going to have a look at a case note where the purpose is hospice care. Okay, all right. So before we start, I would like to ask you something. So Blessy, Smita, Sheeta, Jyoti, can you guys tell me what is the difference between hospice care and palliative care? Or is there any difference between both at all? Yes. As medical professionals, what is your take on what exactly is hospice care? What exactly is palliative care? Are they the same thing, or are there any difference between the both? Okay, yes,
Same thing.
same thing. Okay, what about you, Smita, Sheeta? What do you guys think?
I think hospice care is
End of life care.
end care,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
end life care, and palliative care is like reassurance.
Okay, all right. Okay, let me clarify that. Okay, okay, I agree to a certain extent with what Shija has told. Okay, let me clarify. Okay, hospice care, it's not hospice, it's hospice. Hospice care and palliative care, both are for the comfort of the patient. That is there. However, palliative care is when a patient has been diagnosed with a serious, chronic condition, like it can be a sort of stage 1 cancer, stage 2 cancer, or it can be something as serious as AIDS, or it can be anything. Any serious health condition or any serious disease condition, the patient has it, and the patient, so you're going to give them all the support and comfort that the patient need to live with that disease. That's what palliative care is all about. So it gives comfort, and it's all about helping the patient to live with that disease, manage it, and live with that disease with every support that they need. But when it comes to hospice care, the patient does not have much time to live. Maybe the patient will, life expectancy has reduced, or the patient is expected to pass away in the next 6 months. Okay, so that's when. So we know none of the treatments are going to work now. The patient's, patient may die, or there is a serious chance that the patient may die in the next 6 months. Then you give hospice care. Okay, so that time you're not giving any type of curative treatment. You only give the treatment that is necessary to make sure that the patient is able to pass away with dignity and comfort. That's called hospice care. Palliative care is not that. It's all about the patient is living with a serious condition, and you provide the support necessary for that patient to live. Okay, and it starts with the diagnosis. Palliative care starts with the diagnosis. From the diagnosis till the patient, is like it's a throughout process. So both give comfort to the patient, but one is to help the patient live with the condition. Another one is to maintain. Hospice care is when none of the treatments are going to work. So the only thing that's left is to make sure that the patient is able to pass away with a dignity, comfort, and without pain. Okay, so that's what hospice care is. So both are not the same thing, both are different. Smita, Blessy, Sheeta, Jyoti, others, did I convey myself clearly about the meaning of hospice and palliative care?
Yes.
Okay, so remember, they are not the same thing. They are not the same thing. There is a difference there. Okay, and yes, it's from a medical aspect as well. Okay, so one is a comfort and support to live. Another one is to ensure that the patient is able to spend their remaining days with comfort, without pain, and with dignity, and able to pass away with a dignity. Okay, all right. So keep this in mind. And today we are going to have a look at a case note. And what I want you guys to do is, as usual, when we approach the case note, think about the way we approach the case and what do we do first, what do we do next. Make sure that you keep a note of that. Okay, all right, so let's start today's case note. Let's have a look at the case note. Here we go. So after the case note, we will discuss the organization. So here today there is no structure as such. It's all about logic. So last week I gave you, you can follow this structure, or this way of organizing might work. Like that I told you in the previous week. Here I'm not saying any specific structure, but it's a mix of a lot of things. Okay, when it comes to the structure. Okay, but let's see. Okay, and we will also be discussing a sample letter. Here we go. Okay. All right, so give it a second, let your screens load. Okay, so I hope you guys can, the screen is visible to all of you. Let me just zoom in. So it's visible. Okay, so all right, so today, as you can see, we don't have, okay, this is what our first paragraph is. There is nothing much given in the first paragraph. So because of that, we are directly moving on to our writing task. So usually there is a first paragraph that gives a lot of information, but in this case note we don't have that, so we are directly moving on to the writing task. Okay, all of you take a second, take 55 seconds, go through the writing task. All of you. Okay, so Blessy, can you tell me who are we writing the letter to? Who is our reader?
Miss Carrie Andrews, Director of Nursing.
Miss Carrie Andrews, Director of Nursing. Okay, in the writing task, have they given the purpose? In the writing task?
No.
No. All right. In the writing task, have they given whether the patient knows the patient? Oh, sorry, the reader knows the patient.
No.
No. So what we know is only about our reader. We have not figured out our purpose. We don't know whether the reader knows the patient. Okay. And this one does not have a first paragraph where it says our role. So we don't know any of those things. We only know our reader's name. Reader is a director of nursing at Queensland Aged Care Center. That's all we know. Okay. And they have asked us to come up with a letter that, and what type of letter should we write, Blessing?
A referral letter.
It's a referral. They have asked us to write a referral letter. So we don't need to figure out the type. It's already given. If we are going to write a referral letter to Miss Carrie Andrews. Okay. Now, and we don't know the purpose. We don't know whether the reader knows the patient. We have no idea. That's not given in the writing task. And let me tell you one thing. They've asked us to write the background, medical history and treatment. And let me point out one thing, relevant, not the whole history, not the whole background. What is relevant? Make sure to keep that in mind. Okay. Now, so we don't have a first paragraph. So we read the writing task. We know our reader. We know what type of letter it is. We don't know the purpose. We don't know whether the reader knows the patient. So now we are going to read the case note. So when you read the case note, try to understand all the data. Try to, keep a note of what purpose, what is the purpose and what do you want from the reader. Okay, what do you want from the reader and whether the reader knows the patient, the purpose and whether the reader knows the patient. Make sure that you look for that. Okay, look out for that. Okay, so we are going to start reading the case note. I want all of you to get ready. Here we go. Let me take the first page. 1 second. 1 second. Okay, all of you read from here. Today's date to next of kin. All of you. From here till here. Next of kin. Keep a note of the date. Okay, now go through the medical history and social history. Let me just zoom out so you're just specific. Okay, go through patient's medical history, family history and social history, all of you. Medical history, family history and social history. Okay, all right. Now let's go through what happened on 23rd, on what happened on 23rd. Okay, the diagnosis, then what happened on 23rd. Yes. Go through it. The diagnosis, that is the latest diagnosis, and go through what happened on 23rd, everything. Okay, all right. Now go through what happened on 28th. What happened on 28th? 1 second, let me just take the whole thing. Yeah, go through what happened on 28th. Make sure to zoom in. Okay, all right. Okay, so let me ask you one thing. Shija, when is 20th today? Is 20th today? Is it today? Is this one today's events? Blessy, Smita, what do you guys think? Is 20th today? Are all these things are the things that happened today?
No, ma'am. 9
No.
days ago. 19.
Today is 29th, so that means these are the events that happened yesterday. Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Okay, so all these things happened yesterday. Okay, all these things happened yesterday. Now let's have a look at the discharge plan. All of you go through the discharge plan. What are the things that the reader needs to do? Go through it. Go through everything that's written. Only just 2 things. Okay, all right. So can I ask you something? Okay. Asma, can you tell me what is our purpose? What do you want from our reader? What do you want from our reader? Come on, Asma, Blessy, Shija, Smita, come on, tell me what do we want from the reader? Jyoti, what do we want? Hospice care. Hospice care. Okay, so that is one thing. That is one thing. So that is our purpose, right? So our purpose is hospice care. Our purpose is hospice care. Okay, I'm going to write that down. Purpose is hospice care. Okay. All right. Can I ask you one more thing? So should we want only that from the reader? Do we want anything else from the reader? Is that it? Only hospice care, nothing else? Come on, tell me.
Patient's wife can be admitted into the same facility.
Available for
Okay, so wife, okay, and what should the reader do for patient's wife? Go through it.
community social worker.
Okay, so the reader needs to contact the community social worker so they can notify. So the social worker can notify a Mr. Nutt's son when a bed becomes available for his wife. So hospice care is for Mr. Nutt. So that is our purpose. And this is one extra thing that they need the reader needs to do for our patient's wife. So these are the future events. Okay, all of you, are you clear? Come on, tell me. I need you to respond. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Perfect. So now we know the purpose. We know exactly what the reader needs to do for the patient and for the patient's wife. Okay. Can I ask you something? What is the meaning of this consensus decision? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
Logical.
According to the patient consent.
Not exactly that. Okay, so here consent is there, but not only from the patient.
Contract, ma'am.
No, not exactly, not exactly. I'll tell you. Whenever we say consensus decision, it means a decision that has been approved by a decision that has been agreed upon by a decision that has been agreed by everybody involved. Okay, a decision that has been agreed by everybody, not one person, not just the patient, everybody. A decision that has been agreed upon by everybody involved. That's what we call as, what do we call that? Consensus decision. Consensus decision. Okay, all of it. So just go through it. So patient was recommended hospice care, and that was a consensus decision. That was something that has been agreed upon by everybody involved. Okay, so now we know the purpose. Now we know what exactly should the reader do for the patient and patient's wife. Let's keep that in mind, and let's start selecting information from the start. Okay, all right. I need you guys to work with me. I need you guys to respond. Okay, so all of you, should I include today's date?
Yes.
Okay, I need today's date. Of course, I need to take today's date. So I've selected that. Okay, and patient's full name, of course, right?
Mr.
Yes.
Anthony
Okay.
Natta.
All right. Okay. And should I include patient's address?
No.
No,
Age.
I shouldn't be include
And
patient's
date of birth.
age. Okay, date
Date
of
of
birth or
birth.
age? Date
Date
of
of
birth.
birth.
Okay, give me a second. Give me a second. All right. So we need to take the patient's, of course, we have taken today's date. We have taken our patient's name. All these are relevant. Then we have taken the date of birth. Should I take the age? If you want to include the age, you can take it. Okay, but not in the layout. In the layout, when you have, when they've given age and date of birth together, you will always choose date of birth. You will always choose date of birth. And if you want to write, you're like, ma'am, I want to specify the age of the patient. That is something I think, it needs to be in your letter. Then of course you can include anywhere in the paragraph, Mr. Nutt, an 86-year-old man. You can say that. Okay, that's your decision. But of course you're saying date of birth, then it's not needed. But if you want, of course you can add the age, but not in the layout, somewhere in the body paragraph. Okay, I've seen many sample letters where, they have written the age, they've written date of birth. In the layout they chose date of birth, but in the body paragraph they've highlighted the age. That's also fine. That's your decision as a writer. Okay, so today's date, patient's name, I don't need the address of the patient. Age, it's up to you, it's your decision. And should I include the son's name? Is that relevant?
No, ma'am.
Take a second, think about it, Smita. Why are we sending this patient to this particular care home? Because son is not able to take care of him. So of course we need to tell, right, why the son, why are we, when we talk about the patient's move there, we need to specify what the patient's son told us. How it, and he's also planning to visit the home, right, every week.
Yes.
So of course I need to say that. Of course I need to talk about the son's name. Mr. Joseph Nutt, his son, I need to mention that. Okay, all right. Now I want all of you to take a second, go through medical history, tell me what are the things I need to include. So remember, it's hospice care. It's hospice care. We know, the patient. The hospice care means we are just going to ensure the patient's dignity, pain relief, and everything is maintained until the patient passes away. That's the goal. So I want you to go through medical history and tell me what are the things that I need to include. And should I include every single detail from any point? How should I convey that? Tell me. Come on. I want all of you to think about it. Go through it.
Breast cancer
Breast
20 years
cancer.
ago.
Breast cancer 20 years ago. Okay, so should I say breast cancer 20 years ago? Then should I
No,
say?
you can write mastectomy.
Right.
Yes, very good, very good. If you say this is a male patient, we say if a total mastectomy 20 years ago, it's understood, right? It's due to breast cancer. And should I specify that the patient did not take each follow-up treatment, or should I just say did not receive any follow-up treatment?
Did not receive any follow-up.
Yes, that is more than enough.
Follow-up treatment.
Okay, what about patient's dementia?
Yes, need.
I need, right? I need to write because as a reader, the reader is going to take care of the patient. So the reader needs to know. What about non-smoker, no drug allergies, non-drinker? Should I include that?
No need.
No. Okay. So why did I not elaborate medical history? Rather, I mentioned it because now it's hospice care is the purpose. There is no use in, going in detail. Just give an idea about the medical history. That's more than enough. Hospice care means there is no much to do. There is no new treatment. There is nothing new that's going to happen. They're just going to make sure the patient is taken care of, his comfort, dignity, and pain relief is maintained. That's it. So we don't need to get into detail. We just need to mention these. Blessy, Smita, Shija, Jyoti, Manju, Asma. Did I convey myself clearly?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me and ask. Okay. Do not hesitate. Okay. All right. Now, should I include family history? Come on. Should I include family history?
No.
No need.
No, it doesn't. And it's colon cancer. Okay. So it's okay. And what about the patient retired 20 years ago?
No.
No need, ma'am.
No need. What about wife has newly onset dementia?
Yes.
Yes,
ma'am.
because we need wife to, and should I include married? When you say wife, it's understood they are married, right? So I don't need to specify that. Okay, I'll just say wife. That's more than enough. And wife's condition. So again, son's name is repeated. We have already taken. So should I say the son is 52 years old? He's unmarried, or should I include all those things?
No.
No. So,
No,
okay,
no.
all right. So take a second, just go through the information or details that we have selected from the first page. All of you. All of you. Okay, we have taken the patient's name, patient's date of birth, son's name, from history 20 years ago, right aortal mastectomy, no follow-up treatment, dementia, then wife has dementia, newly onset dementia. These are the things that we have taken. Let's move on to the things that happened on 23rd. I want you to think, so should I include the latest diagnosis?
Yes.
Of course, but I want you to go through everything from 23rd objective and as well as these and tell me what are the things that I need to include. Keep in mind, hospice care is the purpose. Come on, tell me. Blessy or Shija, Jyoti, try it. Okay, should I include what the patient came to our facility with?
Yes.
Okay, go
Yes,
for it. That's
that
okay.
will be
That's
good.
okay. And this problem that he presented with happened when? Started when?
2 years.
2 years ago. And should I say the mass increased in size, it bled, it began to ulcerate. It's already given, right? Ulcerated and hemorrhaging. So
Not
should
required,
I?
ma'am.
So that's not right. But if you want, you can say he did not until 23rd, until 8 days ago, he did not take any treatment. If you want, you can say that. Okay, if you want. Okay, should I include all the vital signs 8 days ago or 6 days ago or something? All the vital signs should I include?
No,
And should I keep
no
on talking about the size of the cancer?
No need.
No, but okay. If you want, you can say this. I would say all these things are not necessary. But if you were writing to an oncologist, you could have written. But now we are writing to the care home where they are going to give hospice care. So all these things are not necessary. If you want, you can just say incisional biopsy, confirm the diagnosis. Okay, that's it. Okay, now. Okay, so here, earlier we read diagnosis, right? They have only given recurrent infiltrating ductal carcinoma of the breast. A few details from there are given here, okay, to yesterday's. Okay, let's see, yes, what happened yesterday. All of you go through it. Should I repeat the diagnosis again?
No.
No, I can say, but stage 3, I need to be stage 3. Yes, very good, stage 3. What about this point? Patient not suitable for none of the treatment. Yes, that's why we are sending, right? No other treatment. No treatment is going to work. None of these, treatments are going to work. So now look at the third point. What about these? This?
Yes.
Yes, I can say. So none of the treatment works. Curative treatments is not going to work, but we have started on these. Okay, okay, and this one, this one, family. What did the family say? Okay, can I ask you one thing? Can I ask you something? Read this and tell me, what should I include here? What did the son say about his mother? What did the son say about his mother? He said he
Did not take care of her father.
Concern over mother's state.
mother concern. He said he is concerned about mother's state of health. What is the state of health? She has dementia, right?
Dementia.
Okay. And what about his father? Father is our patient, right? What did he say about our patient? He won't be able to take leave from work to take care of his father. Okay, so that's what. So we need to include, right? That's why we are sending him here. So that's it. That's more than enough. Okay, now let me ask you one question. Which is more important to us? Son's concern about his mother or son's concern about his father? Which will we write first?
About the father.
concern about his father.
Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Do not forget this point. Keep this in mind. Okay. So we selected what we need from yesterday's data. Now, okay, we still have hospice care, of course. Should we say it was a consensus decision? It's not necessary. Okay. If you want, you can say it, but I don't think we need. We have enough, more than enough. Okay. Now, should I say this is where we are sending the patient? So I need not to write this one. I don't need to write this one because this is exactly where the reader is. So I don't need to write he will be transferred. No, I don't need to write that. And can you read the last point? Should I include that? From the last point, what should I include? Go through the last point, this one. What about this point?
Yes.
Okay, so can I ask you something? The wife has dementia. What other problem does she have? Read this,
She
read
is
this.
not unable to take care of her husband.
Manju, take a second. That was about the son. Read this here. Family meeting called. Son verbalized concerns over mother's state of health. Son unable to take care of father, not wife.
Okay, ma. Okay, ma.
Okay. And read this one. Read this sentence. Read this one.
Patient's wife to be admitted to the same facility due to general
So what other? She has dementia. From history, we know patient's wife has dementia. Patient's wife has dementia. What else she has?
General deconditioning.
Overall deconditioning. Okay. Then until a bed becomes available, where will she stay?
With son.
With son. We need to tell that, right? We need to ask our reader to provide. Reader to tell that his wife will need admission at your facility, and we need to tell the reader that she needs to notify the social worker, right? Until then, the wife will stay with her son. Okay, we need to say that. We need to include that. Okay, that makes logical sense. Think about it. Think about it. Okay, and of course, we need to say the last point, right? Son will visit weekly and contacting. We need to include this as well. That is necessary. That's exactly what the reader needs to do. The son will visit weekly. That is what son will do. We need to say that. Blessy, Shija, Manju, Smita, Asma, Jyoti, are you guys with me? Am I making myself clear? Are the logic behind each and every detail that we have picked out, does it make sense? Do all those things make sense to you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am, clear,
All
ma'am.
right. Okay. So let's revise. Just go through what are the things that we selected from the second page. All of you. Diagnosis is little bit given at different places. So you need to compile it. When you write it at one place, you need to specify the details. Okay. All right. And ulcerated hemorrhaging is repeated many times. You just need to say once. That's more than enough. I don't need to write all the vital signs on 23rd because it's a few many days ago. One thing. Second thing, I'm writing for hospice care. So there is no use for the reader knowing every single thing that happened on 23rd. Okay, and yesterday I need to say we found that the patient is not suitable for any treatment. Then we commenced this particular treatment for him. Then what his son told about him and what his son told about his mother. Then the son's mother or patient's wife will need from us. And until we do that, where will she stay? Okay. Then what are the things that the reader needs to do? Then that the son will visit weekly. Weekly, the son will be visited. Okay. Manju, Smita, Shija, are you with me so far? Is it clear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
we know the purpose, we know the reader, we know the reader does not know the patient, so it's an unknown case. We know we have selected the details. Now, let's think about the introductory paragraph. From now till the end, I need your full attention. If you have any questions, I need you to ask me then and there itself. Okay. All right. So let's start with the introductory paragraph. We have already discussed this many times. The content of a good introductory paragraph is purpose. So what is the purpose today? What is
Hospice.
the hospice care? Hospice care. So when I write my intro, I'll say I need hospice care for the patient, of course. Then what is that information about the patient that we can include in the letter? What is that information? What is
Diagnosis.
it? Diagnosis, right? Stage 3 cancer. Right? That is the best piece of information that we can include in the introductory paragraph, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, so diagnosis. So I'm going to write the sample intro here. If you're starting with I am writing to, they've already given what type of letter it is. So we can say I'm writing to refer Mr. Anthony Nutt, who has or who has been diagnosed with, stage 3, who has been diagnosed with stage 3 recurrent ulcerating rectal carcinoma of the breast. Carcinoma of the breast. Okay, I wrote the whole diagnosis. Full stop. He now requires, what does he require? He now requires
Hospice care.
a hospice care. Okay, full stop. Okay, any questions about the intro? So you are like, ma'am, I'm not comfortable with I am writing to. You can write it. Thank you for providing hospice care for Mr. Anthony Nutt, who has been diagnosed with stage 3 recurrent ulcerating rectal carcinoma of the breast. Okay, any questions about this introductory paragraph? Shija, Manju, Smita, Jyoti, Asma, Smita, Ablasi, tell me, do you have, Jyoti, tell me, do you have any questions about this introductory paragraph?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay, all of you with me? Jyoti, is it clear? Asma, are
Yes,
you?
ma'am.
Okay,
Clear, ma'am.
okay,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
right. Okay, so can you guys tell me, why did I use has been diagnosed with?
Sir, still it's still present.
This is something that continue, ma'am. This is something that he
Recent
is
diagnosis.
suffering with that.
More than that, it's an in OET context. But yes, it's a recent diagnosis. More than that, the explanation for this. Remember, when the diagnosis is resolved, we use was diagnosed with. Whenever this is another scenario for present perfect tense, that is when the diagnosis is unresolved at the moment of writing, you can use has been diagnosed with. Okay, that's a grammar point I wanted to explain with the letter. So this is it. When you are talking about or when you're mentioning a diagnosis that is unresolved at the moment of writing, that means we discuss resolved when we discuss simple past tense. We are now focusing on unresolved diagnosis at the moment of writing. When that diagnosis is not resolved, it's not treated, it's not managed, we call that unresolved diagnosis, and you can use has been diagnosed with. And if you're like, ma'am, I don't want to use, it's too confusing for me, forget it. Just write has stage 3, the cancer thing. Just write has as a fact. Right now he has, right? You can write that. It's your decision. You don't like this, you can go for this. Okay, all right. And it's not compulsory that, you have to write as unresolved diagnosis. It's your decision as a writer. Okay, all right. So remember this has been diagnosed with, we use when the diagnosis is unresolved at the moment of writing. Okay, all right. Now, so we have got our first paragraph. We have got our grammar aspect. I made it clear. Now, I want you guys to tell me what will be the content of my second paragraph. What should I place in my second paragraph? So we have written our diagnosis and purpose. Now what will I write in my second paragraph? What should be the theme? What are the things? Should I start with what the son told? Or is there any other logical detail that I need to start with? Shija, Asma, Manju, Smita, what do you guys think? So, okay, if you want, you can look at the case note. What will I include in the second paragraph now? Will I include future first, or will I include what happened on 28th or 23rd? What was it, Smita?
Yesterday. Yes, ma'am.
23rd. Yes. Yesterday? Yesterday. But then what about 23rd? So which one makes logical sense? Think about it. Should I place 23rd or yesterday first?
23rd.
20. Logic. Think about the logic. This is not multiple admissions. This is like what happened over a period of time. So 23rd. What happened on 23rd? 7, right? Okay, I think it's 7. Okay, 23rd. What were the problems? Okay, so what problems the patient had? Okay, what problems the patient presented with? Okay, Then when did this start? Remember, when did this start? Okay. Then what else was there? How did we confirm the diagnosis? Confirm the diagnosis. Okay. So once we have written that, what else we do? So second paragraph we wrote about what happened on 23rd 7. Now what else would I write? What else would I write? What else is remaining? Yes. Come on. 23rd, after 23rd, what would I write? Logic. Think about the logic.
28th.
28. That would be third paragraph would be. Third paragraph would focus on what happened yesterday. So can you guys tell me yesterday, what will be the events I will write here in the third paragraph? Yesterday, what will I write? Will I directly move? Look at the events.
Not suitable for the.
Yes, not found to be suitable. Then what treatment, right? Go
Yes.
through it. Yes. So I'll write that. Okay. Yes. Not suitable. Patient not suitable for what? Not suitable for what? What commenced treatment? Commenced treatment. Okay. What else? What else?
Son's concern.
Okay, so this, okay, 1 second. So suddenly I'm talking about something medical related. Now, all the son's issues that are, it happened yesterday, but it's not medical. So I would say make that as the fourth para. During family meeting, what did the son say? So whose concern will be right first? Son's concern about the father or about the mother?
About father.
Son's concern. Yes. Son's concern about Mr. Nutt. Okay, all right. Now then what will we write? Son's concern about
Mother.
mother. About mother. Okay. Then what would be the last next para? Fifth para? Future events, right?
Yes.
But we have a problem. What is the problem? We have taken things from history. So we have information from history. How will we present it? So, okay, first of all, before we look at history, all of you go through the structure. All of you zoom in and go through the structure. All of you. I want each one of you to go through it. Go through what I've written here. I've already written our introductory paragraph. Go through the contents of second para, third para, fourth para, and fifth para. Okay, go through it. Go through it. We have not included history yet, so keep that on hold. Go through this. Okay, all right. So can I ask you one thing? What would be the best? So I have from history, I have one detail is Mr. Nutt's 20 years ago, what happened? 1 second, let me just zoom in so it's visible. So one thing is 20 years ago. So let me write it somewhere here. Okay. So I have 20 years ago, what happened? Details from history. Details, okay, from history. 1 second, let me write that down. Okay, so what we have here is first one, 20 years ago, what happened? 20 years ago, right total mastectomy, and no follow-up, That is one. Then next, his dementia. He also has dementia. Then what do we have? Then we have wife's dementia, and one more problem the wife has is deconditioning, general deconditioning. Okay, that is from history. 1 second, that is from history. All right, then these three details we have. Another thing that we have is a mother will stay. Wife will stay with the son with the son until bed becomes available, until bed becomes available, bed becomes available. Next one, son will visit weekly. Son will visit weekly. So my question is, can we logically connect these things? Can we? So to logically connect, you have a relative clauses. You have relative clauses. Think about relative clauses, connectors. So I will give you the hints. Okay, 1 second. You want to logically blend these details with the already remaining structure. So we have relative clauses, who, which, that, all those things. Then we have connectors of reason, connectors of result, connectors. You can use that. Then we have please note. Okay. So, okay, think about which one would you, how can, so we have these many details. How will you think about, connecting these here? Logically, how would you blend these details here in this structure? These are the devices that we can use. Relative, who, which, that. Okay, let's start with 20 years ago. 20 years ago, what happened? Where can we blend? Can I tell you one thing? You talked about what happened on 23rd. You talked about not suitable for treatment. Then you talk about son's concern. So mentioning 20 years ago at the end, does that make sense?
No.
So where can you blend it?
Second paragraph.
Second paragraph. So how can we blend? We are saying he presented with, right? So here, use who in the first sentence, use who, then mention 20 years ago what happened. 20 years ago, what happened? Mr. Nutt, who underwent right total mastectomy and did not receive any follow-up treatment 20 years ago, presented with. Okay, so what happened? So we can use, we cannot use reason or any connector, we can use who here. Asma, Manju, Smita, Blessy, Jyoti, others, are you clear? Shija, are you clear what I'm saying right now?
Yes.
Okay, so we formed the structure, how we are going to organize the major events, but we have some details from history and from extra details we don't know where to place. So what are the devices that you can use to logically blend these? You can use relative clauses, you can use connectors such as because, since, therefore, that, all those things. Then for otherwise you can use please note at the end. So before we get into please note, we are thinking about how we can arrange. So I thought about this 20 years ago. That is something that the reader needs to know quickly, right? I don't know, saying it at the end does not make sense. So one way we can say that is second paragraph, when we say patient presented with these many problems. With what patient? The patient who had mastectomy 20 years ago and did not receive follow-up treatment, presented with this problem on 23rd. I can say that using who. Okay, now what about dementia? Where will be the right place to talk about dementia?
Fourth paragraph.
Fourth para. When about
Concern about Mr. Nutt.
Okay, concern about Mr. Nutt. So using what? Using which device? Can we say it as a reason? Who would be better? You can say who also has dementia. That is better. Or I'll give you another option. At the end, when in the future events, when you ask to provide hospice care, provide hospice care. We will say, right, you need to provide hospice care. When you there, you can add for Mr. Nutt, who also has dementia. That is another option. For Mr. Nutt, who also has dementia. Who also has dementia. Two options are there. It's your decision as a writer. You can decide. When I say in the fourth paragraph, Mr. Nutt's son is concerned about him, what are the Mr. Nutt's son's concern about Mr. Nutt? There I can say his son, Mr. Joseph Nutt, is unable to take time off work to take care of his father, who also has dementia. Or I can say, please provide hospice care for Mr. Nutt, who also has dementia. Both places, it's fine. Smita, Blessy, Asma, Manju, Jyoti, others, am I making myself clear here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
ma'am.
It's your decision as a writer. Now, what about wife's dementia and general deconditioning? Why is the son concerned about his mother? Why?
Dementia, due to dementia.
Yes, so here I can use a reason connector. Why? Okay, reason. Reason. As reason, I can say, as a reason, I can say, I can mention wife's dementia and general deconditioning. Dementia and general deconditioning. Right? Okay, all right. Now, what else? What else we have? So we have dealt with 20 years. What happened? That is done. This is done. This is done. Now, this one. How will we say this one? Wife will stay with the son until bed becomes available. Where will I say that? Where do you talk about the bed becomes availability of the bed? Where do you talk about it? Blessing, where are we going? Shija, Asma, where are we going to talk about the availability of the bed?
Fifth paragraph.
Future para, in the future para. So here, notification, kindly notify social worker, right? Kindly contact social worker, There we can say, kindly contact social worker. There you can add social worker to notify son, blah, 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 the whole thing. Then we can say until she will live with him until then. We connected it. Okay, we found logical places to connect our extra pieces of information. Now, son will visit weekly. Before you end the letter, use please note. Please note. We use please note to highlight information which we cannot logically place anywhere at the end. Okay, all right. So all of you, I know this has a lot of history, so we are trying to blend. So far, we have not done a letter like this. So all of you go through it. We discussed the structure, we organized it well, but then after organization, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of information that we needed to logically blend. Okay, because randomly, another option that usually people do is they start another paragraph saying, additionally, he had mastectomy 20 years ago. At the end, after writing the whole thing, additionally, but when you say that, at the end, talking about the mastectomy doesn't make any sense. It's something that you need to tell the reader at the start itself. Because it's better to do that. So that's why we used 20 years ago. We connected that with when we talk about his problems at the time of presentation. There we connected it. Then his dementia, when we talk about son's concern about Mr. Nutt, who also has dementia. Or you can talk about when we say, please provide hospice care for Mr. Nutt, who also has dementia. Then why is son concerned about his mother? Because she has these 2 problems. So we can connect that. Then wife will stay with him. We are asking the reader to notify the son through a social worker, right? There we can say until you notify, until then she will stay with her son. Then we have one piece of information, that is son's weekly visit to our facility. So we don't have any other places to blend it. So what we can do before, at the end, you can use please note. Okay, so are all of you with me? Is this clear? Come on, tell me, is it clear? Okay, all right. So on that note, okay, all right, good. On that note, let's have a look at the sample letter. I want you guys to get ready, go through the sample letter. All of you go through the sample letter. Go through the sample letter. Okay, I'll just, so I want you to quickly go through the sample letter, then we will discuss everything. Go through the sample letter. All of you. Go through the sample letter. Address, date, salutation, regarding. Look at the intro. Look at the 23rd, what I've written. Go through the sample letter. Just read it, then we will analyze it. Zoom in. Those who want, please zoom in. Okay, all right. Let's analyze the body paragraph. Okay, let's analyze it. Okay, starting with the first paragraph. Okay, all right. Smita, can you unmute yourself and read the first paragraph for me, please?
Yes, ma'am. I am writing to refer Mr. Anthony Nath, who has been diagnosed with stage 3 moderately recurrent ductal carcinoma of the breast. He will now need hospice care as he will be transferred to your facility today.
So I've written the information about the patient, latest information about the patient, latest info about the patient. I've written that saying who has been diagnosed with, one second, yes, latest information I've written about the patient who has been diagnosed with. So instead of who has been, you can also write who has a history of. You can also write who has a history of. Okay, who has a history, sorry, not who has a history of, I'm sorry, who has what cancer, who has what cancer, you can write like that. Okay, it's your decision. Okay, if you don't want to write, you can say, you can convey it as a unresolved diagnosis or as a fact. Okay. All right, or as a fact, so you can say who has, who now has, or as a current issue, or as a current issue. You can say, instead of who has been diagnosed, I can say who has stage 3 moderately recurrent ductal carcinoma of the breast. Ductal carcinoma of the breast. Ductal carcinoma of the breast. I can say that. Okay, of the breast. Okay. All right. Now, then he will now need hospice care. He will now need hospice care. Okay. So instead of he will now need, you can say he requires, he needs. That's your decision as a writer. You can do that. He requires or he needs. That's your decision. So instead of he will now need, you can say he needs what. He needs what. Or you can say he requires what. That's your decision. Both are fine. Okay. All right. So any questions about the introductory paragraph? I think it's pretty straightforward. It's not, that confusing here. Now, that brings me to the second paragraph. Okay. Blessy, read the first line of the second paragraph.
On 23/5th, Mr. Nutt, who underwent right mastectomy and did not undergo any follow-up treatment 20 years ago.
Okay, one second. Instead of 23rd, 5th, you can say 6 days ago. 6 days ago. If you want to write that, you can do that. Okay, you're like, ma'am, I'm not comfortable with writing the date. You can say 6 days ago. That's also fine. Or 6 days prior. Mr. Nutt, who underwent. So what happened? History. Info. What happened 20 years ago? I blended. What happened 20 years ago? I wrote it using who. 20 years ago. I blended it using who. Okay, logically connected using, logically blended using relative, this one, who, using who. So look at it, all of you look at that. Mr. Mr. Nutt, who underwent right mastectomy and did not undergo. Instead of undergo, you can also use receive. That's your decision. You can say who did not receive. Okay, receive for any follow-up treatment 20 years ago. Extra information. Presented with an ulcerating, or one second, with an ulcerating and hemorrhaging right anterior chest mass. Okay, yes, what was the question? Yeah.
Ma'am, can I ask, in the like in purpose we use this who as well as we use in the first paragraph who, but in the first paragraph before who we put comma, but in purpose we did not. So what is the
Asma, remember known two relative clauses we discussed. We have one that comes after the subject. We have one that comes at the end of the next to the. So I am writing to refer Mr. Anthony Nutt here. It is at the end of the sentence. Okay. So I want you to look at the session. Okay, you can go to the website. Look at the second session on July 17th. July 17th, second session, 1 hour or something. We have had a in-depth discussion on it. I want you to recheck that. Okay, July 17th, second session. Okay, so any one of you have doubts about the usage of who and the comma placement, I have explained it in detail, thoroughly explained it on July 17th, July 17th, second session, not the first one, second session. Okay. And if once you go through it, even then you have doubts about it, please ask me, I'll clarify it. Okay. But you go through that video because it's in-depth discussion I've done. I think once you go through it, then compare, take those, and I've sent the notes as well. Then compare that with what I've written on the screen. Then if you have any questions, please get back to me and I'll definitely help you out. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, because it's not one single explanation, it's a bit detailed. That's why I'm not explaining it right now. I don't want to confuse you. So July 17th, second session. In the website, it's uploaded. Please go through it. And if you want notes, I've already sent you the notes if I'm not wrong. And if you're like, you missed those notes or you don't have it, ask me, I'll send it to you once again. Okay? All right. Now,
Thank you.
6 days ago, Mr. Nutt, who underwent right mastectomy and did not undergo any follow-up treatment 20 years ago, See, all the numbers 20 years ago, I have spelled it. Okay, so that is something that OET prefers when you're writing numbers, not dates or anything. 20 years ago, 3 days ago, spell it out. Okay, not when you're writing numerical dates, that's fine. But when you're dosage, that's fine. But when you're describing 20 years ago, 3 weeks ago, all those things, you spell the number out. Okay, all right. So instead of undergo, you can use receive. Okay, so presented with an ulcerating and hemorrhaging right anterior chest mass. Okay, next sentence, Blessy. Yes.
He had noticed it 2 years prior and did not seek treatment until then.
So he had noticed it. One second. He had noticed it. So I mentioned that as well. He had noticed it. So I've used past perfect here. He had noticed it and did not seek treatment until then. And did not seek any treatment until then. The next sentence.
His biopsy confirmed his diagnosis.
You can also specify incisional biopsy. You can write that, not a problem. That's your, I just wrote biopsy, that's it. You can say incisional biopsy, that's also fine. Incisional biopsy. Incisional biopsy, that's also fine. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, so all of you go through the second paragraph, and if you have any questions, please ask me. Except the relative clause, the usage of who, which, that, as I've told Asma, we already have a video in the website, not in YouTube channel, in the website. Please check it out. If you're part of the virtual classroom, you will have access to it. Okay, all right. Smita, Blessy, Asma, Manju, Shija, and others go through the first and second paragraph. So the theme of second paragraph is what happened on 23rd. Okay, so I'm moving on to the third paragraph here. Okay, Asma, can you read the third paragraph if you don't mind? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Following this, he was not found suitable for chemotherapy or curative treatment. Consequently, he was started on tamoxifen 20 mg daily with 1 course of palliative radiation yesterday.
Okay, so I'm talking about what happened medically. I'm not talking about the family events. What happened medically yesterday. I'm describing what happened yesterday. Yesterday we found that the patient is not suitable for palliative chemotherapy or curative treatment. As a result, consequently means as a result. As a result, consequently means as a result. Okay, as a result, so he was not suitable for these things. So as a result, we commence this treatment. Okay, so instead of consequently, you can also write as a result. Okay, so I really hope I'm making sense to you guys. I understand if it's difficult, I completely get it, but just go through it. Just go through the theme. As we decided, I am writing, I've written these, or I've arranged my sentences. All of you go through it. This is pretty straightforward. Yesterday we found that following these, we found that he's not suitable for chemotherapy or curative treatment. Then what happened on 23rd, after the diagnosis was confirmed, we did this. Okay, since he was not suitable for chemotherapy, we started this treatment. This is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, now additionally, So other events that happened. So the next paragraph is other events that happened yesterday. That happened yesterday. So at first I focused on the medical events that happened yesterday. Then the next paragraph I'm talking about additionally what else happened. Okay, Asma, can you read the next paragraph as well, the first sentence?
Yes, ma'am. Additionally, Mr. Nutt's son, Mr. Joseph Nutt, had started that he was unable to take time off work to care for his father during a family meeting.
So during
He
a family,
also-
one second, during a family meeting, his son had stated, see, I used past perfect, had stated that he was unable to take time off work to take care of his father during a family meeting. So his son's concern about his father, son's problem with his father, that I mentioned that first. Okay, so he had stated, and I conveyed it using past perfect tense. Mr. Joseph Nutt had stated that he was unable to take time off work to care for his father during a family meeting. Next one, next sentence, Asma.
He also appeared to have concerns about his mother's state of health, since she has newly onset dementia and general deconditioning.
So
as a result,
continue.
As a result, she will also need accommodation at your home.
Okay. As a result, he will need accommodation at your home, care home. That's what we mean by it. Okay. Why is he concerned about his mother? I clarified that. Okay, and that is why what she needs. Okay, she will need accommodation at your facility. All of you go through it. Mr. Nutt's son, Mr. Joseph Nutt, had stated that he was unable to take time off work to care for his father during a family meeting. Okay, he also appeared to have concern, or he also had concern, or he also appeared to have concern about his mother. That was yesterday, right? So concerns about his mother's state of health. Since you can use because, instead of since you can use because, instead of since you can use because, or therefore, that whichever that you feel comfortable, or as. Okay, about his mother's, she has newly onset dementia and general reconditioning. As a result, she will also need accommodation at your facility. Okay, Smita, Blessy, Manju, Shija, Asma, and others, are you clear with this paragraph?
Yes, ma'am, clear, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
anything, do you want me to explain anything from the second, third, or the fourth paragraph? Just go through it, before we look at the future paragraph. Just go through it, all of you. And look at the way we have logically connected the history in here as well as here. All of you. Please go through it. This is an important letter. I cannot stress this enough. Okay, now let's look at the last paragraph. I want your full attention. Okay, all right, Shija, can you read the last paragraph for me, please?
Yes.
Yes.
In light of the above,
Mhm.
it would be appreciated if you could provide hospice care for Mr. Nutt, who also has dementia. Kindly contact a community social worker to notify Mr. Nutt's son when a bed becomes available for his mother. Until then, she must live with him.
Until then?
She will live with him.
She will live with him. Considering the above, so you're like, in light of the above, you say in light of the above, you're like, ma'am, I'm not comfortable with that. Right, considering the above, or in view of the above, you're like, I'm not comfortable with that as well. So you can say after his transfer to your facility, you can use that. You can say that. That's your decision as a writer. After his transfer to your facility. Okay, you can write all these things instead of in light of the above. It's your decision. It's up to you what you feel comfortable as using, because you have written whatever they need to know. Now you're going to describe what exactly should they do. So in light of the above, taking everything that we have told so far, it would be appreciated. We have already discussed future structures. If you could provide hospice care for Mr. Nutt, who also has dementia. See how I've blended the history here. Who also has dementia. Okay, so here the main theme is future events. Okay, readers action and other future events. Okay, so I wrote what exactly should the reader do first. Okay, then with that I connected my history here. The history here, see, all of you. Okay, logically connected history here. Logically connected history here. Okay, all right. Then kindly contact a community social worker to notify Mr. Nutt's sons when a bed becomes available. You can also say when a bed is available. When a bed is available, that is also fine. Or you can say when a bed will be available. Will be available is also fine. It's all these are future structures you can use. When a bed will be available for his mother. Until then, and don't say till then is a bit less formal. Until then is much more formal. Until then, until you do that, she will live with him or she will live with her son. You can say that. Now, last one, I have please note. So I don't know, I've used please note, please note to connect, to mention a detail that I couldn't place anywhere else. Okay, so that's how I've written this. Okay, and you are like, ma'am, I don't like a please note. I am not, everybody is using it. I don't want to use please note. I want to use something else. Use it is important to note. Use it is important to note. Or kindly note. Kindly note. It's your decision which you feel comfortable. Okay, it is important to note or kindly note. So I use please note. That's something that I can easily remember. If you're not comfortable with that, you have other option as well. Okay, Mr. Nutt's son will visit him every week. Instead of every week, you can say on a weekly basis, or weekly. It's your decision. Okay, then I ended the letter. Kindly provide care for Mr. Nutt and contact me if you have any queries. Very good letter when it comes to your OET, exam, this one. So please go through it. Please go through the last 2 paragraphs. And if you have any questions about anything, please ask. I'll explain it to you. If I've already explained it, that's fine. I will explain it once again. Smita, Shija, Blessy, Asma, Smita, and others, go through it. Go through it. And Asma's question is a very good question. Why did I place comma at one place, and why I did not place comma anywhere else? It's basically, if it comes after the subject, you place 2 commas. If it comes at the end of the sentence, usually you don't place a comma. Sometimes you place a comma. The whole explanation you can find in the July 17th second session. Okay, website, the video has already been uploaded. Please check that out. Then go through each and every example that I've given there. Compare it with the sample letter. And if it's not clicking for you, just ask me. That's it. I'll explain it.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
If we write like connectives like for which 2 times in a letter, is there any problem?
You can see I have repeated. Okay, I'll connect that with one example. I've used who 3 times or 2 times, right? But I did not use it in the same paragraph. I used different places. Then it's okay. Repetition is okay, Shija. But in the same paragraph 2 times, no, that's not recommended. But in different places, it's fine.
Then we can use us. Still we can use us, right?
Yeah, that was a rumor. Okay, that's not correct. Yeah, I know. There was a rumor that you cannot use as to convey reason. No, there is nothing like that. As long as it's logically connect, you can use it. And I did confirm it with them 2 months ago or something. They were like, that's okay. That's completely fine. As, since, because, to give reason, you can use it. Okay, all right. Anything else? Blessy, Manju, Asma? Okay, let me tell you. Yeah, let me tell you one thing. Right now, things will make sense to you. Later on, you should be able to understand it. So please later on go through everything the same way that we discussed. And if you have any questions, get back to me. So let's discuss one more thing, then let's wrap it up. How did we approach today's case note? How did we approach? So today we did not have a first paragraph. So no first para, nothing like the specific first para. So what did I do? I read the writing task first. Read the writing task. So read the writing task. Writing task. Then of course, purpose was not there. So I found, then read the case note. Read the case note. Then I identified the purpose. Identify the purpose, because that was not given in the writing task. Okay, read the writing task, identified the reader, identified the reader, type of letter, but no purpose. So how did I find out the purpose? I read the case note. Okay, then after reading the case note, I also identified future events. Okay, then we selected relevant information, selected relevant details, and rejected irrelevant details. Okay, also one more thing. When we selected and rejected relevant details, then we wrote our intro. Once we have selected that, we wrote our intro. Write the intro. Okay. Then then we organized it. Okay. Then we worried about organization. But remember, you organize the letter. So we organized the skeleton, organized the overall structure. Then we blended. Remember, that's an important thing that we did. Organize the overall structure. Then we logically connected the history, details from history. And only then we got an overall structure. Only then we logically blended details from history. Okay, all right. Then we wrote the letter. Okay, all right. And remember, I told you, when you have extra details, how you have three ways to logically blend it: relative clauses, connectors, then you have please note. Okay, all right. One more thing let me highlight. So in this letter, if you remember the case note, in the entire case note, nowhere they have given our role as a writer. Our role is not there. Smita, Blessy, Shija, Manju, our Asma, our role is not there, right? We don't know who we are, right? They have not said you are the charge nurse, you are writing a letter. No, they have nowhere they have said your role as a writer. So see, how did I end the letter? See, I know the reader, so I used yours sincerely, but I didn't know my role. So I wrote staff nurse. Or you can also write registered nurse. That's your decision. I know I'm writing from some hospital. We don't know which hospital. We don't know your role. So I did not imagine a name. I did not, came up with imaginary content. I just wrote staff nurse, or you can also write registered nurse. That's your decision. When usually in an official material, they will definitely give who you are as a writer. By chance, if it's not given, don't imagine it. Don't write your own name. I did not write Anjali, no. So you cannot write Smita, Blessy, Shija. You cannot do that. Just write staff nurse or registered nurse. Okay. And sincerely, why did I use sincerely? Because I know my reader's name. So I used sincerely because of that. I know I'm writing to Miss Andrews. So that's why I wrote yours sincere. Okay, all right. So this is what that is. Okay, so I want all of you to go through this letter, and remember, we discussed the difference between hospice and palliative care. You understanding the difference has a huge role to play, especially when you select information. When you get palliative care, the information that we pick are different. When we get hospice care, the information we pick are different. Please think about it. Please go through everything that we have discussed today. Saturday's case note are a bit, exam oriented. So please go through it. And I think on Tuesday, we will discuss one similar to this. So this will make more sense to you. Okay, but please go through it. And if you have any questions, ask me. If it's grammatical, ask me. And past perfect, relative clauses, you can find all the explanation in the website. If you have not gotten access, talk to Giamma. Okay, she will give you access. I've told them to upload everything, and I want you to go through it. Yeah, this hospice care is a comment of it comes. It's of course it comes in your OET writing. Hospice care case notes many case notes have come for your exam. So please go through it. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I hope I was able to convey myself clearly. I'll see you guys next week. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.